From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of another podcast, rather, with a conversation with Trent Shann. Let's bring Shann and get to this topic real quick. What's going on, lady?
Well, good evening. Happy Hump Day and happy National Coffee Day for all my fellow caffeinated lovers out there.
Well, technically, it's always National Coffee Day for you, so.
Yes, yeah. That is probably true. However, there were plenty of places today giving away free coffee in recognition of Coffee Day. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is. It really is.
Did you get the free cup?
Did I ever?
Did you get it?
I did.
Okay, good stuff.
I did.
Good stuff.
I had a pumpkin spice. Oh, for anybody who might want to send me coffee. Grande pumpkin spice latte made with soy, extra hot, light whip.
I'm more than sure you have more than enough coffee. Knock it off.
There's never enough coffee.
Yeah.
Do you drink coffee?
Nah, negative.
Oh, well, we shouldn't even be talking to you.
I'm actually a tea drinker. So
okay, I like tea. I like loose leaf tea. Like I have all these little gadgets to make tea.
I take the black chai. Good stuff. Yep. Good stuff. Hey, man, this topic when toxic and love begins.
Yes.
Actually, you and I were having a conversation about the post that you posted about 4 days ago. I thought that was pretty transparent, and I grabbed my popcorn and sat back. I was like, let me see how many women are going to be transparent here. There's a handful of women, maybe less than a handful. Mm-hmm. They weren't so transparent. They weren't so transparent. And what I say by transparent, what I mean by transparent is coming on and speaking of the thing that you actually opened up to. And I was like, that's quite interesting. So, question popped in my mind. Does toxic relationships last forever? I'm going to say yes.
Really?
And the reason I'm saying yes is because if the toxic is not addressed and the trauma isn't addressed, it could transfer from party to party, person to person. And that same relationship, you carrying that toxic over and over and over, right into the next relationship. 3 years, a failed relationship, going into another one, repeating itself. So yes, toxic relationships can last forever if the trauma isn't addressed. I truly believe that.
So I want to say that the initial post had to do with, and I think I was asking the ladies, because it is had to do with, are we able to recognize and accept a good man or partner when they come along after having dealt with or been in toxic relationships? And, I would dare to say a lot of women, including myself, we experienced that, where not really addressing whatever was traumatic or toxic about the previous relationship and not fully giving yourself an opportunity to heal it. And sometimes some people feel that the healing comes from just moving. They use another person to give them that healing and that
can't repeat
that to move on, to move forward. What?
The last thing you said, the healing to do what now?
The part about sometimes not necessarily healing properly is, for some people, healing means they try to find that healing in somebody else, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Right. So I will say, I didn't go into a lot of great detail. It was just a good question that came up based on a post that I saw. And, I don't think there's very many of us as women who have had relationships that are of any mature age. that have not experienced someone who wasn't great for us and who didn't really have our best interests at heart. And I guess you would call it the rebound person, but there's also, you're wanting to find some healing, and we do sometimes miss out on the good person or a good man who does have good intentions, or good man, woman, whatever your preference is, based on not separating ourselves from what we experienced before.
Exactly. Let's get into when actually male and female,
Yes.
males bump into that as well. When we don't properly heal, there's a great chance that we'll pick up on our road of life. We'll pick up the same toxic behavior and bring it right along with us into the next relationship. That's when we don't heal properly. And as far as healing, it's almost like a death when you're removing yourself from a relationship, or even if it's a toxic situation. It's almost like a death. You have to have the 5 steps of grief and loss. You have to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go through the 5 steps of grief and loss to actually get on with it, to get on with life, get on with a healthy life and a healthy relationship. I know I could speak on that because I went through the same steps.
Right.
Sometimes I was repeating it constantly, running into the same person until I knocked my head one too many times. I'm like, man, I'm doing something wrong. I had to pick up my inward mirror. It's me. It's not everyone else. It's me. I'm carrying the toxic. I'm bringing the toxic. I'm picking up what I just left.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go through the 5 steps of grief and loss to get on with life. That's with anything. Sometimes you have to, not sometimes, when you actually removing yourself from a toxic situation, you have to treat it like someone's died. And you have to go through that process. You have to. If you really want to heal and get healthy, and you want a healthy relationship for your life, everybody's entitled to happiness. You should want happiness, but you have to go through the proper steps. You can't just pick up one day and grab another. It doesn't work for me. It didn't work for me, rather. It did not work for me.
So, hang on one second. I didn't do something I was supposed to do a little earlier.
Didn't send that link, did you?
I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't.
Right.
So, okay. Okay, yeah, I might have to take a loss on that one. So I was looking up while you were talking the 5 stages of grief, because I was going to ask. I know what some of them are, but I don't know if I know all 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that. Oh, good evening, Mr. Mark, Mr. Marine.
What's going on, brother?
What is Hershima Charlie?
That's funny.
I don't know what Hershima. He can't just. Why can't he just be a normal viewer? Just be a normal.
What up, Slash? What up, Slash?
And the other folks that are watching from Facebook, it'd be great if you wouldn't mind giving us you can give us your first name, just so that we can recognize you, because I see there's like 3 folks that joined in from Facebook. But your name doesn't come up. So we'd love to know your first name if you want to share it with us. Otherwise, we're just going to say Facebook user 1, 2, and 3.
Gotcha.
Look at it, Georgia girl. There she
goes. Go ahead.
But anyway, so you're right. The ends of relationships are definitely grief. That's why there's pain. I think about when I went through my divorce, right? And even though I was the person that initiated it and filed and did all of that stuff,
right,
I still had a grieving period, because it was a loss, especially since we had been together for so long. So you definitely have to take time to work on your own issues there. What happened to Mr. Epic? You guys, I think he's having technical.
Oh no, I'm here.
That is very rude, sir.
No, I was listening. I heard you.
Yeah, but you just put a picture up and then we didn't hear anything. It's like you weren't even paying attention to us or me. I would never do that to you. I just want that to be well known and stated here on the show tonight.
Good stuff. No, I'm here. I would not. I'd never leave you. I'm here. Good stuff. So you looked up the 5 stages of grief and loss, right? For the people that don't know about the 5 steps of grief and loss, read some of them off for them.
Well, hold on. So, lovely Google here. Denial and isolation.
Absolutely.
Anger. Bargaining.
That's correct.
Depression.
That's correct.
And then acceptance.
Exactly. Now, mind you, through those stages, each stage, sometimes you can actually get to acceptance. Some you go to bargaining, then you come back to anger, happy. You want them back. You want to bargain with them to get back in the situation. So you're going to repeat these stages. So it's just not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just going through it and you're done with it. You're going to repeat that. You're going to continuously repeat that at some time. It depends on how much toxic you're dealing with. It's not going to be that easy to get over and get through. I mean, I repeated that for a number of years. It took me 8 years to get past that toxic situation.
Wow, 8 years?
8 years, and I was finally healed after that. It took me 8 years. So I repeated those steps constantly, over and over again. Until I had to knock my head. Until once I was tired of knocking my head, I got tired of it. Man, I'm tired of this. I gotta get better. But I had to take responsibility. I grabbed it in with mirror and I had to deal with myself first. That's what the step I was missing was dealing with myself. I had to deal with myself, then I could actually deal with someone in a healthy manner.
Wow. Good evening, gentle giant. Welcome, Mr. Williams. So Mark says he's not one for signing up for toxic relationships. So that's a bit of a foreign concept. Also not a believer in love. Oh, okay. More of one that's fallen in like or lust. And he said Ushima is Swahili for respect. Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll let you pass on that one. Wait a minute. So
let's break some of Mark's comment down. Go ahead.
First of all, Mark, none of us signs up for a toxic relationship. Nobody walks into it and says, hey, I want to be talked to like this, or I want to be lied to, or I want to be cheated on, or all this. None of us signs up for that. It kind of comes out and happens. And I can guarantee that at some point in time, you've experienced something that was toxic in a relationship with somebody.
Exactly. Let's take a quick break and break Mark's comment down. I really want to get to that. I'm glad he actually brought this up. I want to get with the guys on this that actual thought process. Let's take a quick break and we'll get into that on the other side of the break. We'll be right back, folks.
Thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Trent. We will be right back with more conversation after these commercial breaks. Welcome back to Conversations with Trent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're online and want to be a part of tonight's topic, you can do that by dialing 347-324-5327. Press the number 1 to get into the queue so that your voice can be added to tonight's conversation. Now, let's get back to the show.
With that's going on. It's the Hair Club for Women. Actually, it's a new company coming through the New Orleans area, head up by a good friend of mine, Dion, as well as there's Tab's Edible Creation, one of the sponsors. They're actually the sponsor, the official sponsor for the and we truly appreciate that sponsorship. That's Tab's Edible Creation. Visit tabsediblecreations.com for all your cookie needs, all your cake needs, infused cakes, all that good stuff. Tab's Edible Creation. Good stuff. Let's get into Mark's comment. Yes. Quite interesting.
Yes, what shall we dive deeper into? I'm just kind of like that he's not a believer in love.
Yeah. And here's the reason for me. I can only speak for me. When we talk about love, at some point I didn't recognize love. I couldn't recognize it. I didn't recognize it. I was dealing with so much toxic behavior. I couldn't recognize love. So I didn't believe in love. I didn't think that love existed for me. I had given out
behavior on your part or the other person's part?
On my part.
Okay.
Totally on my part. Okay. I was responsible for 95% of the toxic that was given in the relationship.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter who I was with. I was responsible about 90% of the time, 95% of the time. So I wasn't a believer of love because, for one, I was hurt first. When I did believe in love, I was hurt first. So that was my get back in my mind. How crazy is that? But I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm sorry, I mean, not true, but it's like that full circle thing.
Absolutely. I truly believe that love really finds its way through tough times. Love finds its way through tough times, and that's when you become full circle within yourself through tough times. For me personally, love found its way through my tough time. So that love will find its way through. So that I rarely disagree with Mark on that, but I might have to disagree with him on that one because I actually personally experienced that myself.
I'd be interested to know if Mark wants to share, why you don't believe in love. Why just like or lust?
Cool. And well, before we do that, let's bring the lovely Keisha in. She's always very special guest on the podcast with us. So let's bring Keisha in so she can.
My bad.
What's going on, Keisha?
Hey, friends, what's going on?
Hey, my bad, girl. My bad.
That's right. Oh my God!
And let's be clear. Let's be clear. I sent that link to her.
Okay, so let's do this. Somebody got more than one profile, and they know it, and they using it.
No, that's not true.
Okay. Unless somebody
look on the bright side, you're here, so it's good stuff.
Yes, right. You are here. Right. You are here.
Absolutely.
So, about this topic tonight, what's your thoughts on it?
Oh man, I heard you guys talking about the the stages of grief, and really it is true, right? We kind of vacillate and move back and forth in between the stages until we finally get free. But I tell you one thing I want to know about this topic from you seasoned and mature gentlemen. What advice do you have to give to young men who are in a toxic relationship?
Ooh.
The advice that I would actually give is pick up the nearest mirror, your inward mirror first. Before you go to pointing fingers, pick up the inward mirror, see what you're doing in the relationship first. Mm-hmm. We always have to start with self. Pick up that inward mirror first before you go to pointing the finger, because what I've learned over the years and what I've done when I'm in relationships, I was always pointing the finger. And the reason why I was pointing the finger, now that I know, I have the tools to understand what I was doing and why I was doing it. Mm-hmm. I was pointing the finger to take it off of me, take the spotlight off of me. I I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want that pain to ooze out. I didn't want to be exposed to that pain. I was running from my pain, running from myself. So what better way to get away from me is point the finger and blame someone else.
Do you think it's just point the finger at yourself or point the finger at someone else?
No, I'm pointing the finger at someone else. Hey, not me. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with
someone else, but
exactly. Go ahead.
Do you think there's a component of let me find someone who looks just like me, right? Because I subconsciously don't really know that I'm really dealing with myself, right? And that other person.
Subconsciously, it happens. I didn't go into it saying, "Let me find someone just like me."
No, that's what I said. That's why I said subconsciously, because I don't think you don't know, because you don't know who you are, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I always ended up with someone who mirrored me, who was dealing with the same trauma, the same type trauma. So, and that's why I became very turbulent, very toxic, because I always attract what I was going through.
So
I was dealing with. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mary. So that saying is kind of true, and it's that you don't attract what you want; you attract who you are.
Exactly, who you absolutely are. Yeah, you do. I did it for a number of years. And the only way I found love, true love, was through my roughest points in life, through my toughest times in life. And I'm proud to say that. I mean, I'm 51 at this point. I finally found love through my toughest times.
Ooh,
through my toughest times.
Yeah.
I've been running from love for a long time, very long time. But the only way that I could recognize that love, I had to deal with myself.
Yeah.
That's how I found love. I started loving me. It looked pretty for me on paper, in books and all that. All that stuff looked pretty. Oh, it was nice. Oh, Trent's a very successful author. Oh, Trent, everything. He's done everything before the age of 30. He was done. Yeah, it looked good on paper.
But what else? Right?
Exactly. So I didn't find love until my latter years, man. That was it. That's honest. It's just being honest. And I didn't find the love until I started going through my turbulent times. Once I found love, which means I found myself, I was able to deal with someone. Once I dealt with myself, I was able to really deal with someone because I went to a relationship very whole and healthy.
Gotcha. That's fair. Yeah. So we've got a couple of comments from Mark here. Oh, thank you. So he said, "Hey, Charlie, I've been a few places and synced a few things. And now I've learned a new word from the motherland. Thank you." And he said, "Mariah says love takes time to heal." Okay.
Absolutely.
And his last comment was he was raised during a time when folks married for love. Granddaddy was a sole provider and a grandmother was a homemaker. Think the color purple in a much more positive way. Girlfriend worked and came home to something. So he hasn't finished that thought. But yeah, but where along the line did you stop believing in love though, Mark? If you don't mind sharing that. Because I think it's funny that, or almost weird that as many, I think sometimes you would think that when you go through so much that you get to a point where you're not willing to risk you're not willing to risk things anymore. And I don't know if I'm just one of those hopeless romantics, but like I said, I don't know what it is. I still do.
Right. I know for me personally, I wasn't running from love. I was just afraid to address my issues. And 9 times out of 10, if everyone wants to be transparent and naked and honest, most of us are running from ourselves. Most of us are running. That's just like what. That's just like
agree with that to a certain extent. Yeah.
Let me break it down a little bit. That's just what the reason why this topic came up tonight. I started paying attention to your post. You was being kind of naked in that post. And I was like, okay, let me grab my popcorn. Let's see how many women's going to follow suit. It wasn't even a half a hand. It was maybe 2 or 3 that dived in and dug into the topic. That was it. Then the post went dead after that. And I take it as they don't want to look at themselves. And we all know, and anyone who knows Trent, followed Trent over the years, know that I've always built transparent platforms. And I don't mean to offend anyone over on the group page or anything, but most times we don't address those issues, we're running from something. And 9 times out of 10, we're running from ourselves. I did it for years.
Yep, and and you end up repeating them.
Exactly.
Repeating the same thing. So.
Exactly.
So,
but that was very brave on your part, Shannon, for you to even just submit to mention it and to say that. I was like, wow, she's really going there. I wanted to dig a little deeper on that. So good stuff, man. Real good stuff.
What were you gonna say, Keith?
I was gonna say, so like, what were some steps that you took to kind of say, okay, I need to check myself?
When my karma started knocking at my door and refused to leave.
Okay.
Once my karma started knocking at my door and it refused to leave until I opened that door and answered it, that was the only way.
So I think maybe you should share a snippet, because for folks who haven't read Chapter of the Delta, which is the book I think most of your trauma lies in, about what you went, where your karma lies in, that maybe just a little
my karma lied in a pretty face and a round ass. It came with a very opening heart, so I thought. So that was my karma. The character from the Chapter of the Delta was Morgan. That's when my karma came knocking and refused to leave until I addressed it. So all the pain and all the carnage that I left behind, and I thought I was safe. Once I met Morgan, Romello was safe. Living in a house, living in a huge house off the 7th hole of a golf course in Michigan. Oh man, this is life. New baby, everything. Oh, this is good. Oh, this is fine. It was just beginning. The trauma was just beginning. So, but I wouldn't answer that door until 8 years later, when Marcus was completely out of Romello's life. I wouldn't answer that door until 8 years later. So my pain actually helped me recognize those steps, and I repeated those steps, the 5 stages of grief and loss. I repeated those for 8 years. This is why I could speak on this platform with this. I went through it for 8 years. I ran for myself for 8 years.
Wow.
So it's well documented through the conversation series, the Horseman series, and all that stuff. It's well documented, but it was more on a trauma. It was more on running from myself. I had to address my issues before I could actually move on to a healthy relationship.
It's fair. I know, bro. It was deep. Yeah.
I think we have some comments over here.
I'm sure the good brother Slash going in.
Yeah, I think he was finishing up his statement.
Gotcha. You want to catch that, Shannon?
Oh, so his last one said, he was answering the question I asked as far as why he doesn't believe in love. So he said his opinion changed when he started living in the real world. We grew up in a shallow world with girlfriends and boyfriends, attaching our young feelings to our hearts, not knowing better.
Yeah.
Okay, that you still holding back, Mark. You still holding back. Let it out, brother. You in a safe zone here. Only a couple of thousands of folks watching and listening. So you in a safe zone. Yeah, you're in a safe zone. But I think you're still holding back. But I also guess that we have to kind of figure out what, for him or even for all of us, what is love, right? How do we define what love actually is?
For me, I'll go first. I'll get a little more naked. For me, love is when you finally start to really love yourself. Because let's be honest, I've done a lot of things over the years. I became very successful at a very young age. I thought that was love. That was like, hey, this is me. This is Trent. But I wasn't loving myself, man. when I was abusing my body, dealing with all these women, that's almost like self-hate. But I thought I was the shit by doing that. But that's really self-hate. I was really hating myself because I was hiding from myself. Like I said on the previous podcast, acquiring all those women covered up more pain.
Well, you remember a few shows, several shows ago at this point, where it might have been Ursula, and we were talking. I gave her an assignment, and it was really about monitoring 5 areas of your life. And I think when you talk about loving yourself, I think one thing is that when you disrespect what your needs are for yourself, like, I don't think people get when they're out of balance with loving themselves and respecting their own personal needs and setting the right boundaries and really, you showing up for yourself. You got to show up for yourself, and if you don't, then how in the world can you expect to show up for anybody else?
Exactly. I totally agree. Totally agree. But as far as with the love thing, like I said, again, I'll repeat this. Mark and I rarely disagree on the love, on anything. We rarely disagree. But, I strongly disagree with him on there's no such thing as love or whatever he said about the love thing. I strongly disagree on that because we have to get to a point that it's love, man. There's love out there. But it starts within first. That's the only way you can recognize it. It has to start within because that's what it is, just being real. It has to start.
That supports Alvin's statement where he says the Bible says that we're supposed to examine ourselves daily, which is true.
Yep.
And I think
Slash coming through with the quotes. Okay, Slash.
No, we didn't say Slash. We said Alvin, the gentle giant.
Gotcha.
No, Slash ain't coming through with nothing like that.
All right, Al Sal. Okay, Al Sal. I see you.
He said, "What so?" And continuance of his last statement, the Slash has said, "There's no structure or loving relationship experience to know what love is. Going through life from one relationship or situationship to another without a playbook or game plan."
And we all know that, which is true.
Yes.
So here's the thing with me. My playbook came from a Playboy. I started mirroring the man that I truly despised, which was my father. He was a phenomenal man, but a huge womanizer. I became the one thing I despised. And over the years, once I acquired the tools to help other folks, I realized why I despised him. It was because of my mother, what my mother went through with him. My mother married a true Playboy. I despised and I became the man who I despised for hurting my mother. That's just real talk. It don't get no realer than that. I wrote an entire series about that, the Four Horsemen book. That's who I became.
So what do you say to someone that's in, going back again, what do you say to someone who's in a similar position?
You have to pick up your mirror, Aaron. You have to find that mirror. You have to start taking responsibility for the toxic you bring to your own party. You have to. That's the only way you'll find your way out. You have to pick up your own flashlight and walk through that tunnel.
Do you feel you have to be at a point where you're ready to do that, though?
The only thing that got me to that point is pain. I was just so tired of the pain, the same thing, the repetitive behavior. I was tired of myself. That's what inflicted change was pain. I was tired of it. I was just tired after everything I went through and the passing of my father, my mother, my brother. I was just so tired. I was exhausted. I was completely exhausted. Now, mind you, I had a serious mask on, coaching folks around the country, going abroad, doing this thing. I was still in pain doing this, writing books and everything, helping other folks. I was helping other folks while I still wasn't even healed. I was tired of the pain. Once I started losing very significant people to me, my immediate family dwindled in a matter of less than 10 years. They were gone. And my mother just took me completely over the top. Once that happened, I was like, you know what? Something has to change here. Something has to change. I was tired of the pain. That's the only thing that got me to the point of addressing my issues, addressing what questioning why is this happening to me? And most of the answer came up was, Trent, it's you. You're why this is happening. That's just real. That's as real as it can get. Can't get no realer than that. You have to take responsibility for the own toxic you bring to your party. I was bringing my own toxic to the party. I was supplying the food and everything, and the drinks and everything.
Wow.
That's a hell of a pity party, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Wow.
So what about on the other side? So we know, and I know it's not just women who experience toxic relationships on the negative side, where we're the recipients of the toxicity. What about the men who are those men that in that first relationship after the toxic one with those women? Like, have from any of the men in the audience, even you, Mr. Epic, how do you deal with that, with a woman that's still wounded, still hurting, all of that, not from anything you've done, but just from those experiences, who's not fully there yet and not completely and totally healed.
Right. For me personally, I have to remember who I was. And it starts with understanding, patience, and non-judgmental. You cannot judge a woman who is reluctant about certain areas, going into certain areas with you, because 9 times out of 10, a man was responsible for doing that, inflicting that pain on a woman.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Thank you.
So, I mean, who am I to sit in judgment when I've been one of the biggest womanizers of all my friends? So who am I to judge a woman who is still kind of reluctant of opening up?
Has that ever affected your being able to have a relationship with someone, them knowing your past with however many women?
Actually, you know what's so funny? My girlfriend now, and that's why I love her so much. She totally accepts and respects me for who I am and who I was. I have no issues with that. I have no issues in that department with my girlfriend. None.
Okay.
0 issues.
Would you have an issue if the roles were reversed?
Where I'm sitting from now, no, I wouldn't. But the old me, I would have a huge issue with that.
I really hate that. That's just such the pot calling the kettle black with men. It's like,
I mean, that's the reality. That's
judge us, and like if we would, and that's why I hate when men want to ask you how many.
This is why I said
whatever number you say, if it's more than just them, it's the wrong number.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying, sitting from the position that I'm in now, I wouldn't have a problem with it. We just move on with life. But the earlier part of me, I wouldn't even entertain the thought of dealing with a woman like that.
Wow.
Just being honest.
Well, how do you know that you didn't? Like, how do you know if all these women were that easily giving stuff up to you? How do you know it ain't that they were probably easily giving it up to other people?
I mean, I would. What you mean now? You mean now?
Well, I mean, even then, because you said the former you would have had a problem with it, right? So
yeah,
you were dealing with what was that story?
It would be completely impossible for me to form.
But let's go back specifically to the story we were discussing that's in the Four Horsemen about the groupie when you first went to California.
I can't believe you're bringing that up.
Yes, I am, because guaranteed if you was doing that with you, she done it before with somebody else. You wasn't the first, and you probably wasn't gonna be the last. So I'm sure you weren't thinking about that. You were just, young, former you, whoever was just thinking about getting some poontang that night.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I didn't know.
Right?
What you want me to?
So
what
I'm
you,
saying, how do you know you weren't already dealing with somebody who was already doing just like you?
I didn't know because I wanted to be dead.
Okay.
Get it? So I didn't know, didn't care. Because there was one night of pleasure. That's it.
Okay.
I knew I was going. I knew I wasn't going to see her again. It's one night of pleasure. But you have to be when you live in that type of lifestyle, you have to be okay with one and done. You have to be okay with the walk away.
Oh my God. The walk away? That's what y'all call them. So we checking traps. Then we got the walkaways.
Yeah.
Then
I was 18 when I did
the 2 a.m. people that what's understood need not be explained.
2:30, not 2 a.m. 2:30.
2:30 a.m. Oh, excuse me. Like, oh my God, I don't know. So I was just a good little old Catholic school girl. I know nothing about that.
You know what they say about them Catholic girls?
Yes, they were all beat by the nun. No, I'm just playing.
Some was getting beat. It wasn't the nuns. Some was getting beat up, but it wasn't the nuns. Let's be clear.
I need you to stop.
Let's be clear. Some was getting beat, but it wasn't the nuns.
So, like, as you're saying this and you're telling this, I don't know if you all see me. I'm just kind of like cringing.
I know.
And the reason why I'm cringing because, this entertainment life.
It's something else, man. It's something else.
Yeah, I know. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I know I'm going to see you again. Well, let me tell you about not seeing you again. I have someone that I know, and because they know that I'm big into genealogy, I swear to you, every 6 months, someone is reaching out to them on Facebook saying, I could be your sibling.
Yeah.
So I'm like going, did you leave deposits on those stocks? Like,
yeah. I think, and honestly, and is Slash still here? Has he commented lately? Or?
Yeah, he had one last comment.
Still there. We haven't read his last comment, but I think.
Yeah, honestly, I think, and I can speak for this. I think he'll be okay with me speaking for this because we were in that world. And I think part of his comments are directly aligned with being in that world. I can speak for him. I don't think he'll challenge me on that.
Yeah, but there's more than just that world, right? And
yeah, but we went
because you're not in that world anymore, right?
Yeah,
so
but the thing about it, though,
what's really out there.
Yeah, but the thing about it, we were in that world at a very young age. So a lot of things that even in my past, man, when I was 18, you just brought the girl up. It's a conversation. We just brought that girl up. And I hadn't thought about that until I spoke with my mentor and I was sharing it with you. I hadn't even thought about that. And now thinking about it, it's like, damn, what kind of trauma did I cause at 18? What type of insecurity did I inject on that woman, man, on that young girl? What type of insecurity did I inject in her?
Wow.
It got me to thinking. I thought about that conversation we had. I started thinking about her. It's like, I wonder where she's at, and I hope she's okay. Because she could still be traveling with me. Think about it. That's what I meant. That's what I meant by
true.
Toxic relationships lasting forever. She still could be traveling with the young Trent. She still could have young Trent within her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does she still have young Trent within her?
He has no idea.
I have no idea.
He's got to know her last name first. Or
remember her first name.
Do you remember her name?
No, I don't.
That is so sick. That is just so sick.
I could call Bob and ask him. I call Bob and ask him.
You like, come on.
I don't remember. I really don't.
Don't ask Bob anything.
You're lucky your pankawanka didn't fall off.
I made it out, so I'm good. I'm good in that area. But thank God I made it out. Yeah. So.
Y'all men are disgusting.
It's a part of life, man.
It's not a part of life. Y'all's just disgusting.
That was a part of my life, a life that I'm not proud of, and what was good about it, I could write about those experiences, those past experiences, and help these young brothers along the way. I've been doing this for a ton of years now, helping people along the way.
So did you ever, when you got to the point where you're going through your healing and reflect and your self-reflection, did you make amends with any of these women? Did you ever go back to anybody and no, you never? Okay.
No.
Well, you don't know their names, so I guess you really can't. And that's no shade there. No shade. It's just like, I guess if you don't know their names, you really can't.
I mean, that's what it was. So it's life. It's life. It happens.
It does, and I think that's why you have to be very mindful of how we treat people. Either
Absolutely.
it's in romantic relationships or friendships or whatever our relationship is with them, because what we do or how we are with them can impact and affect them for life.
Exactly.
And it really just hit me when you said that she could still be carrying around young Trent with her. And that's very true, because we can be traumatized by, she may not even know that it was trauma for her, that, she was being, groupie-ish, hoish, whatever you want to say at that point in time.
Right.
But yeah, because I'm just going to say she was practicing. If that occurred between you guys the way that you said it did, then she had some toxic behaviors. So she could have been trying to do the same thing you are. But if she does not address any of that, she really still could be carrying around, the things that what you put,
Exactly.
what you sewed into her.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not proud. Let's be clear. I'm not proud of that. But what I've done over the years, ever since I became an author, I've actually been pretty much, let's just say, on an apology tour. All those books were for all the pain that I actually sent out. That's my apology. That's the best way I could actually apologize, because there's no way I could actually get to those people and go back, and it's impossible.
Well, I think the other thing about that too is that good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? I think that the things that we experience across the whole of our lives is it's part of what makes our fabric, right? It builds
Exactly.
character, it's who we are. And so perhaps if you had not gone through that, and made a conscious decision to change, you wouldn't be the person who you are today.
Say it again.
I said perhaps if you hadn't gone through that and made a conscious change, into saying I want to do something different, you wouldn't be the person who you are today.
Absolutely. So it's a gift. It's a gift in the end. It's a gift.
Hmm. If
It's a gift
if
in
you
the end.
want it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All I did was just turn my tragedy into a triumph, as far as that part of my life goes, and it helped me and springboard me into a better life, and to deal with all the other tragedies that came after that, like the passing of my father. My father passed away in my arms as I'm talking to him.
Wow.
So all those past pains, relationships, springboard me into a better life to deal with the trauma that I had to deal with, of losing parents and losing my best friend, which is my brother. Um, I'm able to deal with that and deal with it. I'm in a better space, a completely better space.
Hmm. All
So
right. So Mark had a comment. He said, "Real talk. I was in and out of many cities, rocking stages, experiencing backstages and after parties. I was on tour every weekend or DJing weekends." And he said, "I witnessed how it goes down behind the velvet rope." So that's what has skewed you off of love, I guess, is what you're saying. Not believing in it. I mean, I could see how that happens, but I look and I think what I thought was love at 18, 19, 20 years old was that media portrayal of love, where it's all romanticized, and that's not really what love is. You know,
Right.
that's truly not what love is. And I think that's where we get things mixed up. And when people start talking about, loving somebody else, just saying the words, it's not just a feeling. Feelings are fleeting, and they can be felt one moment, and then the next minute they're not felt. So I just don't feel that you can rely on feelings or say that love is what you feel. I think love is what you do, and really, to a sense, who you
Say that
are.
again. That's very profound. Say that again. Love is what you do. What now?
And I said that love, to me, love is what you do. It's a verb, it's action. It's what you do. So
I totally agree. Totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, but it's quite interesting. Mark said he witnessed it go down.
hmm
I get it. I
he
get
said
it.
he was in a serious relationship and didn't partake in all of the excess. He said, still I saw the blurred lines and how fame will get one any and everything. Love looks differently from the inside out.
It really does. It does. It does. So did he answer the question as far as his experience of witnessing that? And I know some of the stuff that he's talking about. So did that change his mind on love? Witnessing that, because Mark has always been a stand-up guy, and Mark is, I mean, he was there. He was definitely there. But his thought process on love, how much do that affect your thought process? How much did that affect your relationships? Witnessing that and seeing these women do certain things and all these different things in the name of fame.
So is that why? Because I remember on Sunday, Ursula commented and said, being in that industry, that you get a pass on cheating, that it's not cheating. I mean, I don't go for that, but I do remember that comment that she made saying that it's not cheating. You kind of get a pass when you're in that industry. I don't know. What are
I,
your thoughts on that, Akis?
Say that one more time.
in my experience too, I think that's what I've seen, that everybody gets a pass in that industry.
Mm,
I mean, he's right. Things that go on behind that velvet rope, you're like, I'm like, really? I will leave one entertainer unnamed, but he said to me, he said, I go to the VIP, I do my appearance, I get my check, I have one drink, and I leave. 45
mm,
minutes tops, if that, because I can't deal with what's going on back here. And
wow.
it was so, as Trent was saying, it was so profound. I was like going, huh. So I mean, I know this, right? But you are capable of making better decisions and know when to remove yourself from a situation that,
Right.
could really be bad for you. So it's just, yeah, that industry, yeah, it's just kind of like it's available, whatever you want.
Wow.
It is. It really is. So I mean, you know, back to your topic. I know we kind of jumped off of the topic, but I think it was very important because I always say, like I always say, there are only reasons why we do the things that we do. There are only reasons why we do the things that we do. And one of the reasons why I was doing the things I was doing, I was in pain. I was in pain and didn't address the pain. So I'm glad we kind of jumped off the topic and got onto this because it's very important. And it's still I love addressing trauma. I love addressing toxic stuff. That's the only way we get in front of it. That's the only way we stay behind it.
So let me ask you something, going back kind of to, the topic of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, so it's like, it's really right when toxic ends and love begins. Do you think that people have a healthy sense of the level of toxic, or just the toxic elements of their relationship to know to say, you know what, it's time for me to walk out so that I can go find me.
Absolutely. Like that's for instance, go back to me. Everyone knows when they're full of bullshit. Everyone has shit with them. Everyone knows if they want to be honest with themselves. Everyone knows. Everyone has shit with them. So I knew I had shit with me. Every time I opened my mouth, I knew it was, oh, I'm going to play this one. I'm going to get this one. I'm going to play this one. I had some shit with me. Everyone knows. So again, like I said, what got me to a better place was me recognizing my own bullshit. I got tired of the pain. I was tired of the pain. I was tired. It was exhausting. That was the only way I was able to reach that happiness. Actually, the title of the show, that's pretty much me. I'm talking about myself. When toxic ends, love begins. That's how it happened for me. When my toxic end, my true love began. And it's simple.
Nice.
Keisha, would you like to take those last two comments from your friend?
What do you say? What do you talk about? Where you at with it?
This started when? Go back one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you go ahead, Keith. You can tackle that one.
So this started when we were teens. Oh, you speak French. Never knowing if that love or attraction was real or fake. Only know the love of my family and my kids. Out here, life is fickle and fleeting.
Okay.
Oh
yeah, keep going, Keith. That's all you, honey.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, no, my bad, love. Let's keep it $1.50. Modern women don't want to win in life. They want to look good losing.
Wow.
They'll sacrifice a relationship or marriage for superficial reasoning, oftentimes claiming to outgrow a relationship or marriage, especially if they're independent woman or obtaining a degree. Excuse me?
Right.
You told me to read that.
We gotta. Hey, Mark, I want to lock you down for a date here, and get you on camera so we could actually dissect all of this and get into it. Because we're going. This one, I truly believe that we owe it to ourselves to give the folks an open and honest dialogue for a straight hour. I would like to. You already know there's an open door policy with you. I'd like to really dig into that. I'd like to really dig into those comments.
I want to know, can you define how you define modern woman? Do you just mean today's woman? Because I'm really trying to make sure I have enough information about what has been stated before I make it.
I'm just like, I don't even know.
Oh, he's gonna comment back.
I kind of want to like punch you in your throat, like.
And when you comment back, Mark, let me know what day is good. We can talk offline. Which day is good, because we need to dive into this and go all the way into it and open it up. And this is what I love. This is I thrive in these type of settings when I'm addressing trauma, addressing toxic behavior, all that stuff. I thrive in this. I mean, I'm all the way in my bag with this one.
Yeah, I don't get that. Where I guess we do need to wait for his definition of a modern woman, but that they don't want to win in life, so women just want to look good and they're okay with just like.
I think with before he's gonna come back here in a second, but I think what he's trying to it's very difficult, and I'm not just gonna put it on women. It's on both. Sexes here. It's very difficult, try to decipher get through all the superficial people, but we cannot be living superficial lives trying to get through the superficial people. We have to be completely naked with ourselves first before we could actually recognize it. Before we could recognize a healthy relationship or a healthy person, we have to be willing to get naked with ourselves first. So I understand where he's coming from with some of that, but it takes a lot of inward mirrors and very stand-up mirror. That handheld mirror for me, I couldn't do it with the handheld mirror. I needed the stand-up mirror. I need to see it all.
So he's provided us with a response. So I asked, what was how does he define a modern woman? He said they don't want the truth. Today's woman. Look at the divorce rate. Who files first? So, yeah, but if I'm in a toxic relationship and I want it to end because I love myself, you're absolutely right. I will file first. If you're putting your hands on me, yeah, I'm going to file first. And I'm going to file a restraining order. I mean, so I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that, and don't get me wrong, because I do know who he's talking about. I've seen a couple of those before, but
I'm wondering. I'm wondering is his mindset, is that from previous relationships?
It has to be.
I'm wondering, is it from previous relationships? So because I know some of the things that I've done was from previous relationships, even with my father, previous relationship with my father. My father's moved on and gone on from that. But my behavior was from a previous relationship. That relationship was my father, what I witnessed, what I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I became him. I became Lil Will. Everybody called him Big Will. But I was admiring him and despising him at the same time. Isn't that confusing?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough situation to be in, and I see it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. So
I see it amongst the men in my family. So I know.
So I would be curious. Honestly, I really would. That's why I'm asking him to come. I knew he's going to come. So we're going to do this on Sunday. I would like to know that whole thought process. I'd like to know where it comes from, where it stems from. Because every thought process, everyone that thinking pattern come from somewhere.
There's a source.
There's a source. There's a source somewhere. It comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And me knowing my brother, me knowing him, I've been knowing Mark a lot of years. We go back like flat tires. When I tell you a damn good brother, stand up, brother.
Hold on. I'd be interested to know, when you got divorced, who filed first?
I'm sorry. Say it again.
When you divorced, who filed first? Who filed for the divorces?
Neither one of us. It was we came up with it together. We had a whole bunch of things. We acquired things together. Mm-hmm. So it took a while to get through it. But once we came up with being civil to one another, it was understood.
But there had to be somebody that filed an initial petition, whether it was civil or not, to get the legal process going.
It was me. I actually suggested it.
Okay. And who filed in your previous marriage?
She did.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, who filed? I'd be interested to know who filed in Mark's marriage.
Yeah, she did. I said the thing about who did this first, who did this.
No, it's not, because I'm going to be very honest. I kind of take a little bit of offense to that, because one, you see, I don't like when we generalize things, especially when it comes to women. And I don't think that, and I still would like to have a better definition of what a modern woman is. And so you're saying that women who were either independent or educated, that we're more concerned with what we look like than having something real and substantial. And I don't think that that's fair. I don't think it's fair to say that. I think sometimes we can be very educated book-wise, and we can be very dumb in love. And we pick the wrong men to be in love with. And those become toxic situations. And we have to remove ourselves from them, because just like Keisha said, there has to become a point that you have to think about and love you more than you love that situation that you know is not healthy for you. And if you have children, it's not healthy for your children to see nor experience that.
Yep.
Even you at a certain point, Trent, had to say, this is not good for me. and it's not good for my daughter.
And
Right? When you
exactly,
when you first
that goes back to
your hold on, when you first had to exit your situation. So I don't think it's fair to women to say that we want to look good at losing. No, we want to have love, but guarantee that when it comes to love, at this point, at this stage in my life, I'm going to choose me every day, all day.
exactly. This is going to be an epic part too.
Comes to the love thing. So no, he brought up the point about women, about it's women filing first. So I think it's a very valid question for me to say, well, who filed first when you divorced? Because trauma comes from everywhere, right? Our perspective and our thought processes and our reasonings have a source based on our experiences in life. So I'm looking forward to Sunday, and I truly hope that when he comes on Sunday, that he's just as transparent.
I'm sure he will be.
Good.
But this is where the conversation foundation was built, off communication, off dialogue. Honestly, I believe that there's a lack of understanding between the two sexes. It's what no one's communicating. One speaking, I've said this for years. One speaking Portuguese, the other speaking English. They don't understand each other.
Obrigado.
I like that. Hey, why is that? Yeah, almost. I felt it some type of way when you said that. Say that one more time.
Obrigado.
Okay, let me stop.
That was thank you, by the way.
It sounded so much.
Girl, that's not all I know in Portuguese. Say.
I know, right?
Isn't that it? Isn't that interesting?
That's that airport life.
Right? I know enough to tell you. Ticket.
But this is where like there's no communication between the sexes. Like we have a ton of people in relationships, been in marriage for 30, 40 years, but don't understand each other. Again, I'll say that again. We have people who've been in marriages for 30, 40 years and do not understand each other.
True.
No one's talking to each other. They're talking at each other.
I don't know if marriage back in our grandparents' day was about the compatibility, was about being in a relationship with your friend and understanding each other. I think a lot of it was built around sustaining things, right? Being able to have a life and being able to have some security and not necessarily being alone, not really having a true partner in life. That
this is not going to be a popular statement here when I say this, but going off of that blueprint of our past, our ancestors, that's not the best blueprint to go off of,
right?
Because come on, let's just be honest. Because they dealt with trauma themselves, so they were trying to figure it out when they was dealing with the white man. They trying to figure it out for themselves. So everything that we got handed down was pretty much what.
Yeah, but though, Trent, though, that's what my cousin and I, we call it stinking thinking. Because it's so old and think about the way you prepare foods. It's just been handed down. Like you have no idea why you add so much salt in something, but because it was just like that's what you were told to do.
Exactly.
It's like relationships and jobs, and our parents come from a generation of still with fighting that whole civil rights thing. Just do as you're told. Don't make a fuss. Don't make any waves. Just deal with it, or stay with that man or stay with that woman. Because what I've seen is they tell the woman to stay with that man because at that time he was making more money. You got to remember in the 70s, women weren't allowed to have credit. You were frowned upon by living on your own and having to get an apartment. You got to go ask your daddy, like all kinds of crazy rules that people don't realize that women didn't really get credit until the 80s, really, late 70s.
Look like Mr. Marine has a few other thoughts here.
I'd never have to be on the stand, therefore I wouldn't need to take the stand. Mary J sings about her life. I research and chop it up with friends, forming my own opinions.
I think we missed the one.
The one before.
We missed the ones before that, didn't we?
Yeah.
They'll go up one more.
No, it's two. Did we read about? Oh, okay, yeah.
We didn't read that one.
Yeah, so I've only heard women say that there's no good men out here. Men don't generalize or take it to that extreme. Once again, I'm talking about regular, smegular relationships. Women think the grass is greener. And so then that's when he goes on to say, I never have to be on the stand, therefore I wouldn't have to take the stand. And so I need you to get in some better circles. I just don't know who you're hanging around.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I'm gonna be honest, I've never heard you, Keisha, say there's no good men out here.
No,
I don't say, but you know what I do? That a lot of men, I widen my pool.
Yep.
And it's unpopular, but I don't just deal with men that look like me, that have my tone. And our brothers do it all the time. But I feel like there's no good men out there. So I'm trying to figure out what women.
But what I don't want to happen is the two sexes bashing each other, because that's not going to go. That's not going to. Have to get some type of understanding.
Nobody's bashing. We're saying that, and this is not the first time he's made a comment in reference to women or people that he's hung out with, and it's all this negative.
I agree.
Stuff, right?
But that's why
what I'm addressing is what Keisha, the point Keisha was making.
I agree, and that's why I'm inviting him on Sunday.
This is
Mr. Williams. I think he can handle himself. You ain't got to run in there and try to protect him. He can handle himself. So sit back for a moment. Sit back and watch for a moment.
But I think again, right, that is symptomatic of stinking thinking.
Yeah, y'all see who's the boss, you know.
You've already talked about the degree and trying to make myself look good, and ain't no good men out here. Like, man, stop hanging out wherever you're hanging out at.
Exactly. So that's why I think that it's again. I'll say this again. I'll say there's a lack of communication between the sexes, man. That a conversation should be had, need to be had. Because I think, honestly, people they don't really understand each other. That's all it is. And what got me to the love and what got me to a very healthy relationship, I was just tired of the BS. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to be understood. She understands me. She truly understands me without me speaking. I've never had that before.
All right. Well, good for you, sir. Alvin said it all started in the beginning with Adam and Eve. Okay. Are you gonna go back there?
And let's blame it on a woman. She bit that damn apple.
But the man was not a man. He was a wimp, right? He didn't use the authority that God gave him. So Mark said, also history shows a large percentage of Black women left the civil rights struggle to co-opt the white women's rights campaign. And then he said, have y'all ever heard another woman say that? Any of your friends or family members leaving a good man?
I don't hang out with them. What?
I love it. 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 I love it.
No. Yeah, we need to find you some better friends to hang out with.
Yeah, because this is
Now y'all cannot hold on a second. Y'all cannot say that. Y'all don't know who he's hanging out with.
Obviously, we do. Stinking thinking people.
That's right.
He put it out there. We trying to do the Christian thing here and help our brother find some positive people to be around.
He got one of the positive men, me.
Well, you ain't doing your job. Shoot. I like how you try to jump in, talk about we not gonna have the battle of the sexes, dashing us. I'm like, boo, he a grown man. He can take care of himself. You need to sit back.
He's gonna always be my brother. Be my brother.
You don't want none, so just sit on back and let us do our thing.
You better knock it off before I start opening my mouth. Because if I really start talking, it's gonna be something.
Oh Lord.
Just call me Usher. Confessions.
Oh boy.
Nah, but it's all good, man. I'm looking forward to that conversation. I mean, Shann, you really brought that topic to light. I really wish that if any of the ladies could hear me in the group right now, because it's streaming live inside the group as well right now. you guys need to engage more, man. You guys need to. That's the only way we'll get an understanding of where you guys are coming from.
Yeah.
You guys need to engage more. You know, just be a little more transparent, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
You got to tell everything. Believe me, we don't want to know everything.
Exactly.
We get enough there. We get enough therapy with our own stuff.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. I don't need to be talking about your stuff too.
Well, you know, for me, to be honest with you, like as far as speaking of transparency, when I write, I've been writing for years, and I've been writing since I was a young kid. I was always very expressive, and I wanted to be heard. I always wanted to be heard, and just understood. Just understand where I'm coming from. So my transparency comes from a very long line of wanting to be understood. And everybody should want to be understood. I mean, that's the only way people get to really know you, if you want to be known.
Yeah.
True.
So good stuff though, man. Good stuff. So Keith, tell the folks where they could get this podcast, man, because I've been digging and looking for this podcast.
Oh, I gotta send you the link then. Yeah, it's on all platforms. It's Dear Bad Boss.
Any stuff that you have as far as the flyers and all that stuff, send it over so I can actually fly them in on the commercials and all that, so we can get the
absolutely. I will definitely do that.
We got to cross network, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. Real good stuff, man. So, you know, anytime you guys feel like jumping on a conversation, you guys don't have to catch it live. Always go to the Conversation with Trent and Shann's podcast on YouTube channel. I'm sorry. Conversation with Trent and Shann's YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button and check out the previous shows, man. Shann's really running the show. Wink, wink.
I am not.
Shann's really running the show.
I just want to say, Mark, we love you. I love you, and I appreciate you being here every time that we are on here and bringing a different thought process, and even sometimes bringing a little controversy. And I see you making the post in the group page, doing the same thing. So we appreciate it. It's all love, and I can't wait to see you on Sunday, live and in the flesh. So we can continue this, because I think, you know, we talk a lot about trauma and toxicity with women, but men experience it too. But I do want you to have your opportunity for us to deep dive into a lot of the
but
brought up.
I'm an equal opportunity. We're gonna talk about the men trauma. We're gonna have to talk about the women trauma.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have to. We're not gonna just sit up here and just air everything out one-sided. I love giving it to everybody. Everybody has to get it.
Yeah, I think, was that Romelo's thought process?
These days, I only love giving it to one.
I'm just saying, based on what you was talking about. Ooh, Lord. Anyway,
that's good stuff. So yeah, go over to the YouTube channel, click subscribe, man. We'd love to have you guys subscribe and catch the live shows when you can, or just go back and check out the previous shows. We always have them up, always uploading new material and content and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Visit tabs ediblecreations.com for all your cookie needs, all your infused cakes and all that good stuff.
Yes, and Friday. So today was National Coffee Day, and then Friday is National Homemade Cookie Day. So
I am the Cookie Monster. There is no other Cookie Monster like me. Right now, General John is upset with me because I mentioned the cookies on last podcast. He was really pissed off with me. I didn't tell him that I received the packages. So normally I'll tell him and Torrance that I received packages. Torrance is still, he's missing in action, but they don't know. But I still got Al. I'll send this sleeve over to you, man. So it's good.
Hey, that was wrong.
But Brandy did get your sleeve that I was actually gonna give to you. So she did.
Now you gonna blame it on somebody else.
Brandy's my sister, so she did get your sleeve, Al. Sorry, but I have one for you. Good stuff. Wow. And you can anybody can get those cookies, those wonderful cookies. Actually, the Ultimate is my favorite at tabsediblecreation.com. tabsediblecreation.com. Check them out.
All right. So it's always.
Go ahead.
What? Can we close it out now? It's 1 hour and 26 minutes.
It's okay.
Perfect.
You run the platform, so nobody.
No, I just want to say it's time to go. It's almost
time. We'll go after Keith and tell folks where they can catch you at. Then we'll leave.
Oh yeah.
Available on all platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora. Pick one; it's there. Dear Bad Boss.
She making some boss chick moves. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Shannon, you want to close? Was that close out, Shannon?
Yes. So as always, thank you everyone who joined in. I know we had a couple of new folks on here tonight. Please make sure to come back on Sunday. Don't forget to go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button as well, and invite your friends next time. And please, we want to get some dialogue and hear your perspective. But if you have any show ideas, please feel free to shoot them to us through the conversation page. We'd love to hear your feedback. And I guess we'll do the after party over on the group page on Facebook. So good night, everyone. Keith, great seeing you. I'll see y'all on National Homemade Cookie Day.
Good stuff, man. You guys be epic.
Ciao. You too. Bye.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.